certainly not the Super Bowl of the drafts like the NFL draft is for us Cleveland Browns fans, but it is NBA draft night. It's here. I mean, it's been talked about, it seems like, for months, especially since the Cavs missed out on the playoffs and kept their number 14 pick. But it's here. We decided that waiting for next year to go live with the WFNY CavsCast. I'm your host, Josh Poloha. With me, Seth Wannemacher and the one and only Joe Gilbert, who is usually on the Browns cast, but he's joining the CavsCast tonight.
Yeah.
We are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And as per usual, this podcast is part of the Evergreen Podcast Network. I guess tonight we're just going to talk Cavs, give some live reactions, try not to spoil any picks. What? You know what? No, we're spoiling picks besides the Cavs pick. How about that? But just talk Cavs and NBA draft. I mean, and trades. Speaking of which, it'll be all three. So Seth, Joe, how are you guys doing? Seth, I'll let you go first. I know you have a very busy and important weekend ahead. So I'm so glad that you're joining us tonight. I did not I figured it'd just be Joe and I. But thanks for joining us, Seth. And how are you doing?
Doing fantastic. I will be pretty tipsy in 48 hours at my wedding. I will drop my Venmo at the end if anyone wants to throw me, a nice little wedding gift, Venmo at the end. In all seriousness, no, man, I'm pumped up. We haven't been able to do one of these live things before where we were kind of live reacting. So I'm ecstatic. I'm happy to join both of you guys and just run through this, man. This is fun, exciting. Cavs are going to, get 1 to 4 players tonight. That's my prediction. They will get at least 1, not more than 4 players tonight. We're thinking somewhere in the middle there. Very excited. And yeah, I'll go ahead and I guess kick it over to Joe.
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me this week. I love the draft, so it's gonna be a fun time today. It's been a while since we talked Cavs and actually had something to talk about the past couple weeks. So yeah, I'm excited to see what they do. Kind of did a move earlier today that kind of opened up more possibilities today. So it's gonna be a fun one.
I love how Joe said that there's nothing really for us to talk about, and that's what we said last week, and it would be a short podcast. And we talked for an hour and 7 minutes on a CavsCast last week. Just nothing that. Just bullshitting. That's all we did, and we talked for like an hour and 7 minutes.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we have some time to kill into the Cavs pick. I don't know. It's weird being in the middle of the draft. I couldn't tell you the last time the Cavs were in, like, the middle of the draft with 13 picks ahead of them. I mean, they can like Jalen Williams, or they can like this guy, use name Jane. Seth's guy. By the way, Seth did one draft profile in case you're wondering which guy he likes, and it was at Usman Jane. So I think you can tell which guy Seth wants tonight.
When you see your guy, you go get him, you write words about him, and then you stop because he's your guy. So I saw one too many clips. He looked too good. I said, all right, stop the words.
Yeah, like a month ago, Seth was like, yeah, I'm going to write a draft profile on this guy. I was like, oh, shoot, maybe he'll write a couple more. And I was like, nope, that is Seth's guy, and he's sticking with it. And I'm fine. Hey, I'm fine with it. But I just don't think – unfortunately, he's skyrocketed up draft boards, according to mock drafts and just the insiders. And right here, the Kings are picking Keegan Murray from Iowa. The first – so pick of the draft, I think. The first
Ridiculous.
3 were all like, yeah, this was supposed to be Jaden Ivey. So now it's going to be, although this means 5 Detroit Pistons. Assuming they take Jaden Ivey, does that mean they're out of the Colin Sexton sweepstakes?
They're actually looking at trading down from someone on Twitter, Jake Fisher, I think it was. So we'll see, but that would be an enticing combination there. Ivy and Kate Cunningham. Those are 2 dynamic.
And not Colin Sexton. I'm trying to keep this casual as much as possible.
Right. Yeah, and that would probably pretty much take them out of the position, you would think. But yeah, it's gonna be that's one of another thing kind of watch today, how it affects free agency for the Cavs and the suitors who could take Sexton, because Detroit made a move. What was that, yesterday? That kind of really opened them up to being a big player in Sexton's pursuit.
Yeah, the faster the Pistons can try to send a max offer to DeAndre Ayton, the better, because I want those dollars gobbled up. So if they want to go get Ayton, that'd be fantastic. And I think there's an opportunity for a hell of a matchup between him and Allen over the next 4 or 5 years. But yeah, I'm hoping they max him out and take some of those dollars away from Sexton.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that they're going to give the max contract to, we'll call him Max Ayton, and he won't even be the best center in his division, huh? Jared Allen's by far better than him. We can all agree on that, right? Hairstyle and all.
I would. It's pretty close, but yeah, I think just the trajectory of where Allen is, he keeps getting better every year. I think he'll probably end up better than him.
By the way, I'm watching the live. Can we, though? I think I brought this up during the NFL draft. The worst thing about draft season, and specifically NBA draft and NFL draft night, player comparisons. They are currently comparing Keegan Murray to Pascal Siakam. No, like it's always like, oh, this guy has a chance to be the next LeBron James. No, he doesn't. Just let the kid be. I mean, he's a 19-year-old kid. Why do we have to compare him to like current and former NBA and
the best players? The best one was I think it was Jabari. I heard on the ESPN preview show like I think 2 days ago. It was like a combination of Kevin Durant and I think who was the big? I forget who the big was. It was another. Like,
it was Kristaps. It was a combination of Kevin Durant, Kristaps Porzingis.
So, like the greatest player of all time put together. Like, what are we doing here? It's so crazy.
That was like my sole take today was just like there's no projecting. Like, yeah, sure, like guys get paid to do this, follow them year round, but who you think's going to be great? Half of those guys are not going to make a second contract. There's going to be one or two guys past like pick 15 that are really any good. Like it's crapshoot once you get down. So yeah, I totally agree with both your points. It's like, man, after like 3, 4, 5, it's you're throwing darts and a couple of them hit and most of them do not. If you go back and look at draft statistically, you're not hitting on much past, pick 7 or 8 outside of being, a rotational type piece.
And not only you're not hitting on it, but like when was the last time a player of a draft prospect was compared to a current and former player and it actually turned into that guy? Maybe LeBron and MJ. I'm sure LeBron had MJ comparisons. That's about it. It's just, I think it's like there's so many other aspects of the draft that we can talk about without including player comparisons.
Right. You can go over their skills, their strengths and weaknesses. You don't need to freaking compare everybody. I know they love to do that, but
I think didn't they compare Evan Mobley? Which hey, I'm not. This is the only player comparison I like. Didn't they compare him to like Tim Duncan? Who else did they compare him to last year?
It was Kevin Garnett.
Like
Kevin Garnett.
Kevin Garnett and Chris Bosh.
Yeah.
I was like,
not bad.
I'll take it.
I'll take it, but like, where are you getting these player comparisons from?
3 Hall of Famers, not too shabby.
I'll take it.
And Tim Duncan, like a top 10 of all time, but no big deal.
To the next pick, by the way, Pistons are taking Jaden Ivey. So the top 5, Jaden Ivey, guard from Purdue. Top 5 are basically expected, except Keegan Murray and Jaden Ivey are flipped. Now I guess this is where the actual draft starts. No, I don't think anyone has any idea who's going 6.
Yeah, and just going back to the Ivy, as Seth was saying, this might take him out of the Sexton, hopefully. Cross your fingers. Take him out of the Sexton race, so that'll be kind of good for them. But it's also bad because that's a hell of a pairing. Caden and Ivy are going to be they're going to be tough to handle.
I'm not scared.
Any I wanted to bring this up just while we're kind of in between picks. Josh, maybe we can start with you. Any initial thoughts, reaction to the tweet Fedor put out today regarding, Cavs have had conversation regarding DeJounte Murray as well as Derek White at the time. Obviously didn't pick up White, but just any kind of gut reaction to that tweet from Fedor about Murray from San Antonio?
Gut reaction, trade anything and anyone not named Jarrett, Evan, or Darius for DeJounte Murray. I'm fine. Imagine a backcourt of Darius and DeJounte Murray. My goodness. Talk about 1, taking the stress off of Darius as a ball handler. 2, I mean, DeJounte, it's a fever dream. I don't think it's ever going to happen. I think there's teams like the Pelicans who have a lot more to offer for a guy like Murray than the Cavs do. But a guy could dream. A fan base can dream, right?
I know. Yeah. And yeah, that's like if you had to like dream up somebody to go at the shooting guard position next to Darius, I don't think there's a better person to put next to. He's got the length to kind of help out Darius on defense. That's probably like the biggest player that you could probably get this offseason. It's probably a very, very, very long shot, but man, that's enticing. As you said, I would trade pretty much anything besides the big three on this team.
What are your reactions, Seth? I know you asked the question, but what are your thoughts?
Oh, I mean, thinking about a lineup of Allen, Mobley, and Murray together, I don't, you throw two of us out there with those three, it's going to be a defensive juggernaut. I mean, words couldn't describe. Josh, you hit on it. It was pressure off Garland. Murray can obviously run the show. He's getting better jump shooter. His advanced metrics are disgusting. He averaged 2 steals per game this year, which was, tops in the league. I don't know what I would do to get him, but I certainly wouldn't shy away from, like you said, anyone outside of the 3 and, 2 first-round picks. I'm not like sweating at that. Like, he is such a huge dynamic guard. Words couldn't describe how elated I would be if they picked him up.
Yeah.
Do it. Kobe, find a way, please. I'm speaking of the draft, though. Back to the draft for a little bit, or for a second. Jaden Ivey. I don't think I've ever seen someone so emotional when they first get picked. He was teary-eyed just talking to Adam Silver. But it's also cool. Jaden's mom, I'm 99% sure, is the head women's college basketball coach at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
So Notre Dame, South Bend, Indiana, and Detroit, you literally can't get much closer than that when you're talking about head coach. So that's probably part of the reason why he's crying too. Not only did he just get drafted number 5 overall, but he's as close to family as possible.
Yeah, that's a cool story too. And there's a couple, like quite a few guys, which it kind of makes us feel old. But a lot of these people that we saw play or we know that our coaches are now have family members.
All right, so I was trying to be sentimental and saying why he was crying. Derpy Gaming has another reason. For those of you not watching live, Derpy Gaming said Jaden Ivey is crying knowing his career is already over going to Detroit.
Hey, at least we're not Detroit, right? That's the saying. Oh, we got the next pick in. Ben Mathurin.
Ben Mathurin from Arizona.
Or whatever it is. Yeah.
He is another guy that skyrocketed up board. I mean, that a month or two ago, it was like, man, he'd be a great fit for probably like 2-3 months ago now. He'd be a great fit for the Cavs. He's gonna go like mid to late teens. And then like within the last month, it was workouts and stuff. Top 7 overall, no matter what. It's like, damn it.
Yeah, that's an interesting fit for the Pacers because they got Duarte or whatever, and then they have Brogdon. I think there's been rumors that Brogdon's on his way out, but it seems like it's going to be a rebuild there. So they're probably just going best player available, just like the Cavs did a couple of years ago when they went Sexton and Garland. So it's a good pick. I think he'll be a pretty good player.
All right, so I guess now that we have time to kill, and you just brought it up, Colin Sexton. I think all 3 of us can agree that we want him back. Mm-hmm. What is the top dollar amount you give him a year?
I would say like 18 million. Just maybe I wouldn't mind 20, but
3 or 4 years.
I would probably 4 years because anything in that range I think is also tradable.
So 4 years.
It's not like you're locked in there and you're kind of screwed.
4 years, $72 million.
Right. It's sort of like Tristan Thompson was like kind of we were screwed with that with that contract. It's a little different because the contracts are a lot bigger now. So I think that would be a good one to put on the roster, and if something comes up, we can trade them easily too.
Seth, how about you?
Man, it's tough. I'll be honest. I've done a little bit of a roller coaster with Sexton this offseason. Right after the season, because of what we had to watch and go through, see what Garland had to put himself through, I was like, give Sexton whatever he needs, get him in. This team needs help. The past month or two, I guess we've all probably read some things that aren't so confident about him coming back, at least in terms of, I don't know, just to me, the Cavs were highlighting him a lot at the end of the season. He was on the court. He was traveling with the team. He was, they were showing him on promotional videos. And then just, within the past month or two, Fedor and a few others, it just sounds like, okay, there's a disconnect on the price. I'll be honest, guys, I'm struggling. I think, 16, 17, somewhere in there. It makes me nervous giving him a ton, not seeing some of the proof in the pudding. I guess to say if he's definitely your starting shooting guard. So this is such a big year. If him and if he's back, it's just I don't know. I'm a little distracted. I'll be honest. But 16-17 is probably my number. How about you, Josh?
So before I go on, you said starting shooting guard. Do you think he's the starting shooting guard?
That's another good question. I think LeVert didn't show me enough to say for sure. I think it's honestly a competition. That's how I think about it. What do you guys think?
Well, can I go and then I'll answer my first question, then we can go back.
That's a great question. It's a great question.
Man, we just went. Damn it! Now I have to answer two questions in one. Wait, what's I? Oh, I think Colin Sexton, no matter what, 6-man. Karis LeVert plays his best basketball in pick and roll. The Cavs' best pick and roll guys, Jared Allen, who's obviously the starting center, and then you have Colin Sexton, who is more of like a go get it basket. Do you really want him eating up minutes alongside Darius Garland, or would you rather have him lead the second unit? He might not be like the best point guard to lead the second unit, but I don't think he'd even be the point guard. I think he'd be the shooting guard, but just to lead the second unit. And then down the stretch, we can figure it out. But I think Karis LeVert will be the starting shooting guard, assuming he doesn't get traded. And then Colin Sexton coming off the bench. And secondly, to answer my own question, I know Fedor has been reporting a lot. The Cavs or Sexton's camp wants about $20 million a year. I'm assuming the Cavs are probably with you guys where they want 16 to 17 million a year. I don't think I mean the difference between 17 million a year and 20 million a year doesn't seem like that much. But the Cavs have all the leverage in this situation. I mean, he's a restricted free agent. If another team wants to come get him, the Cavs can match that offer. I don't think any other team in the NBA is going to give Colin Sexton more than 20 a year. If they do, see a Colin sign and trade coming. But I'm with you guys. 16 to 18 million a year, I'm fine with. I mean, we haven't really seen him play on a good team yet, so we don't really know how he can play with like good team and good players like Evan Mobley and Darius Garland and those guys. But I don't know. I just think he'd be a big threat off the bench. It's very clear that his teammates love him as a player and as a person. I mean, I think Darius Garland and Colin Sexton are on vacation right now, or they're just getting back together. Mm-hmm. But 16, 18 million a year to answer my own question. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I don't think the starting point, the shooting guard or wing is on the roster right now.
Ooh,
at least long term.
Bring some bold takes. I like it.
At least long term, because I just don't know. In terms of like the shooting, I think Sexton actually really does go well with Garland. We saw it a little bit early on last season. He looked like a different player. Like he played a little bit different, knowing that it was Garland's team. That Garland should be running the offense, but it just on the defensive end is kind of where I struggle with. Like he and Garland, I just don't know if they can be out there together at long periods of time. It's just like it's going to be a lot of stress on the back end, and obviously that's why the Cavs built the big two there. But I rather have like a longer guy there, so hopefully they can get somebody there. And I don't think LeVert really fits either. He doesn't shoot as well, but we'll see. As Seth was saying, this season's going to be a tryout. So if they obviously sign Sexton, but it should be a tryout.
One thing I'm really curious about is the whole backup point guard piece, because that I feel like that kind of plays into Sexton and LeVert a little. Like Sexton and LeVert are both going to be tasked with initiating offense, and I'm dying to know who that backup point guard is going to be, because we all know Rubio is not going to be it in October, November. So who is that backup point guard going to be? Because I think that plays a role here too, in terms of potentially how it impacts the Sexton and LeVert and how they look at him. If they get like a Tyus Jones, like a legit vet backup point guard who can run offense, they might look at Sexton and LeVert scenario a little bit differently, or their options differently. But if it's like run it back with Goodwin, then yeah, you need some playmaking. Then I think you want both those guys back. But yeah, I'm very, very curious about the backup point guard position and how that gets resolved. Ty Washington might be out there, fellas.
Man, you had to bring up Ty like you did last week too. My pipe dream, if I can dream it into an existence tonight, is Andrew Nemhard from Gonzaga falls to number 39. That's the backup point guard from October to December, and then he can go under Ricky Rubio's wing and Darius Garland's wing. And the problem is, I mean, it's long been rumored. I think we talked about this last week too, Seth. Cavs and Rubio want to be reunited. It seems like the dollar amount might be. Shane Sharp just went to the Blazers, by the way. The dollar amount might be. I think it was Fedor yesterday say that he wants the full mid-level exception. I don't know if I give Ricky Rubio that, considering he's not 100% and won't be until at least December. But if the Cavs want to bring back Ricky Rubio, their problem will be that they still need a legitimate backup point guard from October to December, but then they also need the said player to be okay with being out of the rotation after Ricky Rubio comes back. I think the only way that happens is if you draft someone. A veteran backup point guard is not going to be happy with that. That's just my opinion, though.
And also what we do at the 3 position too. Like Lowry's not really a playmaker. He's pretty much a shooter. He's a big man, a converted big man. So if they can get like a playmaker, sort of like Jalen Williams, I think they could go in different directions. That's what I think the biggest thing with this team is. They just need more guys that can do things with the dribble. There's a lot of guys that they can take a couple dribbles, but then they just get bogged down. We gotta get a guy that can get a few guys that can handle the ball and make plays for the rest of the team. Because when it was clear as day at the end of the season, Darius did everything, and when he was off the court, it was brutal to watch at times. So they need to get some more playmakers on this team.
Before you go on, by the way, Bro's just back to saying he uses a different verb to say who's going to be selected next. For the Pelicans are currently on the clock.
Dyson.
He said Dyson Daniels stands at the top of the New Orleans draft board. Just say they're going to pick freaking Dyson Daniels, dude. At least Sham says sources New Orleans will select Dyson Daniels.
That was a spot for your boy, though, Seth. Jang was rumored to be very heavy on there.
There's a rumor that he got a promise, I think, in the top 10, and some of the folks said he had an incredible Pelicans workout. So, yeah, you're right on.
Yeah. We needed to make up something so Jane dropped. Like, we need to have, like, a Larry Tunsil video or something.
I think we could just tweet out. I think we could just tweet out his stats from the New Zealand.
Speaking of, that's true. Speaking of Google and stuff like that, did you see? I cannot think of it. Jake something from Wake Forest. He's going to be a late first round pick. Did you see how Google had his age wrong? So NBA teams thought he was 22, even though he's only 20. That is crazy.
That is pretty wild.
I guess he was like a second round pick, and then he said that and had to prove his age, and then now he's a first round pick.
Yeah, NBA teams are so obsessed with age. I mean, that's a 10 to 20 spot, flip real quick. Going from 22 to 20. I mean, that's a big deal.
And can we also discuss how NBA teams use Google to find out ages?
Yeah, well, that's also more.
I think that's the bigger problem.
That's more disturbing too. But yeah, it's interesting because of age. I know age is very important to like the Browns, but like that, there's a lot of stuff that go into that. But
wait, hold on. I'm interrupting you before you go on.
I had to go to the Browns.
You can't. One, you went to the Browns. 2, you can't say age was important to the Browns when they drafted Brandon Whedon. I don't care if that was 5 GMs.
Now the current front office.
Thank you. You had to include that part because they drafted like a 27-year-old rookie, Brandon Whedon, who didn't even know how to get out of the way of a flag on the field.
But yeah, it's interesting because if you look the past few years, there's been a lot of older good players that come out. Like Desmond Bain, I think, was older in the draft. It's interesting that teams are kind of shining away, even like when the film looks good. Like it's interesting to see.
So with Dyson Daniels going, there's a bit of a gap now with point guard, right? If you think about, guys that handle the ball, there's not a ton left that were projected to go in this area. I think Ty is probably like 10 or 12
I knew that was coming up. I knew that was the lead in the Ty. Damn it.
Well, when you look at who's out there, I mean now it's a lot of like forwards for the most part. Our guy AJ Griffin's up there. We talked a lot about AJ Griffin and how good of a fit he could be with the Cavs, being there, lock up their 3 spot. I guess the kid from Wisconsin, but yeah, there's not a lot of like true point guards kind of within this area now.
For the Cavs, and as a Cavs fan, we want centers and point guards to go. I know you said there's not a lot. The more centers that go before 14, the better.
We should see a run on centers here in the next couple picks.
Hopefully.
Durant.
We need to stop with these 3-and-D guys or like threes and just stop drafting them until 14, please.
My guess is Duran and Williams will be off the board, hopefully, by the Cavs pick. I think the Spurs have been interested, I think, in one of the centers, and then I think obviously Charlotte definitely needs a center because the Zeller experience has not worked out so well.
I forgot they had Cody Zeller as the. No, wait.
They're
Cody
starting.
Zeller, right?
Yeah.
No, Charlotte is Plumlee, isn't it?
Oh, is it? I don't know.
Yeah, Plumlee.
It's one of the twins.
One of those big white sticks.
It used to be Zeller, though. I think it was. They had a Zeller brother there for a while.
They just keep passing off North Carolina Duke white guys.
By the way, my least favorite thing about draft season is player comparisons. My second least favorite, it hasn't happened yet tonight, is trades where literally we all know that a kid's getting traded, but he still has to wear the original team's hat.
The worst thing. It's so dumb that you can't announce things during the draft. It's like, why? What is the point of that?
Seriously, what is the point? Like, hey, the Cavs just traded up. So say the Cavs traded up to number 9 right now, and so they're technically drafting, but whoever San Antonio drafts at number 9 still has to think he's on San Antonio. It's the only sport that does that too. It's the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
You feel bad for the kid. I mean, it's like now he's got to answer some questions about maybe be there, maybe not. It's just like, oh gosh, poor kid.
Seriously, like yeah, exactly. And like if you don't have, I'm assuming these draft prospects don't have tweet notifications. Maybe they'll get a text from an agent or something. But like, how disappointed would you be if you went from freaking the Bucks, if you got drafted by the Bucks, but in reality the Kings traded for your pick?
There's been a few instances, I think, where the player was like a little bit confused when they were like interviewing, like they didn't know what freaking team they were traded to. It's the
weirdest thing.
So dumb.
Oh man, there's been. Okay, we're still on number 9. We haven't got an Woj bomb yet, or Sham, or what's a Sham? Is it Shams Wow? Is it a Woj bomb and a Shams Wow?
Sham Wow.
Sham Wow.
I totally just thought about that off the top of my head right now. That was no cheating.
This is an interesting spot here for the Spurs here. They can go in many.
Who are they going to get? Well, who are they going to get to replace DeJounte? Because he's obviously going to the Cavs.
They're a team that likes international guys, so Zhang could be.
Don't say that.
No, if I say it,
come
now,
on,
it'll be a jinx.
You don't want to see me cry on the cast here. Have to weep.
Oh man.
I'm seeing a lot on Twitter about opposing teams. The New York Knicks are trying to trade with the Pistons to go get Jaden Ivey even after they selected him. But James Edward III just tweeted Pistons are keeping Jaden Ivey despite several attempts from rival teams. Mark Stein retweeted it. So sounds like a lot of teams really fell in love with him.
They'd be nuts if they unless they got some just crazy star.
It is the Pistons.
That is true.
As Derpy Gaming said, Jaden Ivey was crying because he already sees that his career is over because he's on the Pistons.
They're going to be a fun team to watch.
They will. Unfortunately, if they sign DeAndre Ayton, that core three of Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, and DeAndre Ayton could be really, really fun and troublesome for the teams like the Cavs in the Central Division.
And you got what's his name? Isaiah Stewart coming off the bench. I mean, he killed the Cavs every time they played him. He's so damn physical. I mean, he's just a pain in the ass to play.
We were able to go to the Saturday. What was that? No, Friday night All-Star. It was pretty much the Cavs. It was pretty much the Cavs versus Pistons for most of it. It was
the rising stars.
Right. Yeah. I think there was 3 Pistons in there, or Stewart, Cade, and I forget who they were.
There were 3, now that you say that.
Dyson Daniels was in that too, by the way.
He was. There's a couple of G League and Ignite guys that run.
I think he was on Mobley's team.
I think Jaden Hardy was in it too, who's supposed to be a late first round pick.
Yeah. Let's see.
San Antonio. I wonder what's taking San Antonio so long. They only have 1:30 left, and the pick hasn't even been leaked yet.
Pop probably makes them not leak it.
Pop, he only has a landline still. It takes a little while for the landline to reach the cell phone. Speaking of landlines, did you see Bobby Marks said?
I did saw
Bobby Marks.
Oh,
current
Jeremy Sohan.
That is good news, by the way. Wait, who did you get that from, by the way?
Woj, you just did it. I'm updating Twitter every day.
Okay, so the tweet notification, because you said it, and then I got the tweet notification. Yeah. So it must go live on Twitter first. Yeah. That's good news for the Cavs, by the way. So a guy like Sohan going before 14 is good news for the Cavs. Mm-hmm. But Bobby Marks, so his current ESPN front office insider, back in 1998, he said that, or he was a Nets GM. He said that the Nets didn't have a pick in the draft, but obviously you're still waiting around for trades and stuff. They were wondering at the end of the draft why they didn't get a single phone call about a trade. Their phone was unhooked the entire draft. How do you allow that to happen? It would be a thing like the Browns. They'd have some PowerPoint and then forget about the phones being unhooked.
I know. Dude, a current God, if anybody did that currently, the whole front office would have been fired.
Imagine going to tell your owner that, oh, sorry, boss, our IT guy didn't check, the phone was unplugged. It's like, I'll just go walk myself to my car, go box up my shit.
Seriously, I feel like that's step, especially if you don't have a pick. Is that step one once you enter the war room?
You would think that would be step one. Okay, let's check the phones. Someone call it and see if we can get it in here.
Oh man! So now we have 9. We have Jimmy Sohan drawn here from Baylor. Man,
there's some players there.
Wait, who has Yeah, it's going so far. The top 8 were somewhat expected, but 9 Sohan is. I'm trying not to get too excited about the Cavs.
He's another international guy. So.
Yeah, Johnny Davis still on the board. That's a guy who's a lot of people have been kind of up and down on. Is he going to be there? And scratch that.
Don't tell any of these 4 teams that Johnny Davis is on the board. Maybe they forgot.
Johnny Davis might be my top guy on the current board now.
He's my top guy.
He would fit perfectly in the 3 spot. He would be another playmaker on the starting lineup. He would be, and then defensively he's pretty good too. And
he's a winner.
Yeah, and he keeps getting better every year.
Drink. Everyone has to drink. Seth just said he's a winner. He loves to win. He's hard nosed. That's another thing, by the way. When you describe a draft prospect, saying that he loves to win should be you should be fine for that. Which professional athlete doesn't like to win?
Well,
True that.
I just heard that.
Kyrie. Is it Kyrie?
That's true. Kyrie, we're not talking about Kyrie in this podcast. This is a non-Kyrie podcast. But seriously, I heard it from something. Maybe it was like, yeah, you have to love this kid. He loves to win. I'm like, why do you play sports if you love to lose? Why? You don't. All right, but enough about
another big thing with Johnny Davis is he has a Taco Bell commercial, so that's a positive.
A negative about Johnny Davis is he is going to the Washington Wizards at number 11.
No.
Oh,
Wait, we're
well, that
at
was
11?
quick. That was short-lived.
Yeah, Twitter's on 11, TV's on 10.
Who's 10? Who the hell is 10?
Oh, wait. Oh, so I'm 2 picks ahead. Hold on. My bad. Washington Wizards are 10. I read that wrong.
The Wizards are 10.
So Johnny Davis, number 10 to the Wizards.
I think that was one of the rumored spots for him, too. So.
Yep. So Griffin's still out there from Duke.
If AJ Griffin falls past the Knicks here at 11.
Yeah, that was, I think Griffin's kind of base there was the Knicks, because I think their CAA, the GM is, I think, the former agent at CAA, and then Griffin is a CAA player. So
a lot of mocks had AJ Griffin here.
Yeah.
Wow.
Don't do it, Knicks. Do something stupid.
Yeah, AJ Griffin is he's probably the top guy now on the board. He's probably got the highest upside, close to it, besides Jang, which Jang has just like an astronomical upside. But yeah, it's he would fit perfectly. He has the one thing that he'll be in the league for a while is just shooting is elite. He's one of the best shooters in the draft. So,
wait, who are you talking about?
Griffin.
Okay, for some reason I thought you were talking about Johnny Davis. I was like, what
Oh,
highlights were you? What highlights and stats are you looking at?
Johnny is gone from my mind. He's gone.
AJ. I mean, I heard rumor on the street has it that AJ Griffin gained even more weight this week. So I mean,
yeah. Oh gosh, let's see.
It's a really interesting spot because Charlotte's at 13 and 15, and we're the Cavs are sandwiched between. So it's going to be very fascinating to see what they're going to do. Yeah, you got to think center, right? I mean, Joe, to your point, you got to think center.
Yeah, because Mitchell Robinson's a free agent, so I think you got to go center. When in doubt, in the NBA,
hold on. You think the Knicks go center?
Yeah, because in the NBA, center is the most important spot.
You're being a hopeful Cavs fan. No, in reality though, do you think they go center?
I actually think they won't, but you never know with the Knicks. So
I think with AJ Griffin there, you had to take AJ. I mean, as a Cavs fan, I hope they don't. But then if they don't, I mean, Charlotte. I know Seth just about Charlotte. Mark Williams. If Charlotte doesn't take Mark Williams at 13, if he falls there, a lot of teams coming to call the Cavs to get ahead of Charlotte's second first-round pick at 15 and taking Mark Williams at 14.
Josh, I was just thinking that. You're 100% right, because the Cavs are not likely going to take a center. I'd be pretty stunned. But if the Hornets pass on it on 13 because they know the Cavs won at 14, maybe the Cavs get a good deal. You're 100% right.
Yeah. There was also...
I'm going to clip that forever and say, Josh, you're 100% right. And just whenever I need some positive reinforcement, I'm going to play it.
On loop.
There was talking about more kind of players that might be traded up for. Jalen Williams, which is probably the second guy on the board, I would say. I would love to have. I think, who was it? Sam Vecini from
the Athletic.
Yeah, in his mock draft that the Cavs are high on him, and then a few other teams behind him. So there could be trading around here too for him. So it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, I think this seems like the area where we may get a little crazy with the trades and shit.
Wait, did Woj really just explain Johnny Davis as a point guard? Because someone just tweeted, Johnny Davis is 20 years old and had more turnovers than assists this season. Woj, he is not a point guard. Woj, dude. Johnny Davis is nowhere near a point guard.
He was a point
if you're
guard for
drafting him to
Wisconsin,
be a point
I guess.
guard, yeah, he was like the do-it-all guy for Wisconsin. But holy cow! I mean,
Yeah.
Johnny Davis is good, but don't talk down about him by saying that he's a point guard.
Yeah, that is not. If you watch like the Big Ten tournament, that is not how you would classify that man. He is. He can go get a bucket, but he's not a point guard.
One thing I will say is that there's so there are 3 picks before the Cavs right now. AJ Griffin or Usman Jane. Oh man, just one of them drop, please. Someone take some weird. 2 of you take two weird picks out of the 3, please.
It is funny, like every year before the draft, you get like it's going to be a wild draft. It's going to be trading all over the place, and one of them this time around, it was John Collins will not be with the Hawks by the end of the draft or something, and now there's already a report that he's going to likely remain. Like this stuff always happens.
They need some talking points, I guess. I honestly thought this Woj thing was like him tweeting about Paulo Banchero going number 1 like an hour before the draft. I was like, oh, this is just a talking point. He's not actually going to go. It's going to be Jabari. But holy cow. I mean, that's a storyline in and of itself, by the way. I don't know if we talked about this during the podcast or prior, but like the ups and downs, it was supposed to be Jabari Smith number 1 overall for, it seems like a month or 2 now. And then last night, Vegas somehow Paulo Banchero went from plus 500 to minus 250 overnight.
Vegas had it first.
Yeah, Vegas had it first. And it's crazy how Woj can change draft odds, or not draft odds, but betting odds so much. Just one single NBA reporter.
Yeah, because in the morning because it changed overnight, and then in the morning he said the league pretty much thinks it's Jabari. That changed it, and then maybe an hour or 2 before the draft, he tweets that out and it changes back. It's pretty wild. Let's see, nothing yet.
Yeah.
So I'm in the. Oh, go on, go Seth.
I was going to ask real quick, just while we're in between, maybe 1 through 5. 1 being not happy, 5 being ecstatic. Joe, what would be your reaction to the Cavs drafting Abaji at this point? If 14 rolls along and gets announced Abaji, are you 1 not too excited, or 5? Are you pretty pumped up?
Probably 2.5. I would be like, it would like, I understand it. He would help right away, I think, but like for a pick that might be the last pick in the lottery, hopefully, knock on wood, for a while, it's not very big. Go for it, home run. More of like a safe single.
Yep. Josh,
I didn't know Joe was gonna stop talking that quick. I was looking at the
sorry.
pictures. No, you're good. It's the most. I would still be excited because of what he offers, but of the top 14 picks, he would be the most boring, if that makes sense. I think Seth and I week. OG, he fills a lot of holes that the Cavs have. He's a good 3-and-D. He's good at shooting. He can defend. He can probably start at 3 right off the bat. Even the 2, if you want to start Lowry. But given his age,
I'm sorry, Seth.
I just got
sorry.
that too. Sorry, Seth. Pour one out for Usman Jane. Wait, that means AJ Griffin though.
AJ Griffin though.
Well, there goes our Kevin Durant. Great. Fantastic.
I think it was Giannis and Kevin Durant put together.
It's morph between.
That'd be the most perfect basketball player, by the way.
Pretty much.
As long as it's not KD's personality, as long as the said person has Giannis's personality.
Giannis's personality would be perfect.
Yeah. What were we talking about though? I just lost my train of thought. Oh, Abaji. He fills a lot of holes. I mean, if only he was like 2 or 3 years younger. Age is one thing. He's one of the oldest players in the draft. But he just won a national championship at Kansas. He was not the most outstanding player, I think is what it's called, in the Final Four. He's voted most outstanding player. It's just his age. And he has a very high floor, but he probably has the lowest ceiling of the Cavs' possible draft targets too. So it's one of those things where, like, yes, he fills a huge need, but it would be a boring pick just because you know what you don't always know, but basically you know what you're getting from the player, and it's just going to be that, and that's it.
Mhm.
Yep. I only ask. I think I've seen him get mocked the most to Cleveland, and he doesn't create his own shot at all. He doesn't do any shot creation, so that it doesn't help our need of additional playmaking. But the Cavs also need a sniper. So yeah, I'm right. I'm like 2 to 3. It's okay. Got it. Hopefully he can immediately play serious minutes. But wow, I'm reeling over Usman here, man. That was tough. That was a shot in the bow. So I'm a little bummed out. I can't lie. I know he wasn't going to contribute for like 2 years, but oh man, I was drooling with the potential.
Well,
I digress.
We will know that Jang is going to not work out because he went to the Knicks. So
yeah, it's crazy that the Knicks GM. Do the Knicks GM and head coach know that they will not be the head coach and GM when Usman Jane is actually contributing?
Seriously.
I'm
like dead serious.
So
wait.
It was traded to Oklahoma City. So Usman, okay, that makes a lot more
sense. So they just flip-flop picks.
To Oklahoma City.
Damn it. So now this means AJ Griffin's probably going to go to the Knicks at 12.
Yeah.
Man, imagine being Usman Jane, though. You think you're going to go to, like, the Bright Lights in New York, and now you're going to Oklahoma City.
And if all the centers are on the board, I would think that the Cavs would trade. Especially to get in front of Charlotte. I think.
Yeah, like we just Charlotte has 13 and 15. The Cavs have 14. If Charlotte doesn't take, I'm surprised actually. Speaking of that, I'm surprised the Cavs didn't put up a smoke screen about how they're interested in Mark Williams for the whole purpose of that.
I think teams would like sure you are.
Come on, it's smoke screen season. Always.
You need another center. It would be pretty funny if they draft one.
It'll be interesting, by the way. So that the Thunder moved up from 12 to 11. What will they have to give up? It says multiple first-round picks. Well, obviously one of them is this year.
Oklahoma City has, I think they said
they have 1,000.
18 in the next few drafts.
Next year's draft has 60 picks. OKC has 59 of them.
I think they're good on trading. They can trade some of them.
I wonder when they're going to try to start winning. Like, it's been so long since they've,
I feel like they have to this year, or else Gildress Alexander will just want to get out of there. Like, I'm the best player on this team, and this team sucks.
He's so much fun too, man. I kind of feel for him.
I know
he's a good player.
Yeah.
Do we think Usman Jane knows that he's not going to the Knicks yet? Because he just took pictures with the Knicks hat on. He's about to do an interview with the Knicks hat on. Like, I'm general. I wish I could ask a player this. When do you find out?
I would assume the agent who's at their table tells them. You would hope they would know before, but I don't know. You never know.
Sorry, sir. You're going from New York to Oklahoma City. How do you feel about that? Although I can't hate. I mean, we live in and around Cleveland, so it's not like I'm like being a hater. But seriously though, the bright lights of New York to Oklahoma City are just, I don't know. I guess he has more of a chance to succeed since he's going to OKC, right? I mean, at least maybe he'll be able to get a second contract in OKC and not New York.
He would get he gets a chance. He gets it because the Knicks, like, you just can't have a young guy there. Like, they want to win every year, even though when they have no talent, it doesn't matter. And especially with Thibodeau, he would never play probably. I don't think he would ever play, especially with how not so physical he is. He would probably have never played.
Yeah, Thibodeau will keep playing Taj Gibson and Derrick Rose 42 minutes a night.
Right.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, I love it. There's
Taj Gibson and Derrick Rose. I just thought of like the Chicago Bulls prime years, like 10 years ago when it was those two players. Now they're still playing.
Oh boy!
There's got to be high protections on those picks. You would think, because That's a big. It's only what, one spot? How many spots did they move up?
One moved up 11.
Yeah, one. Yeah, and to
It has to be.
get multiple.
Well, they said multiple.
Rounders.
No, but that includes this year.
But
So they
still,
moved back one, so that's one. My guess is they got a lottery protected first round pick next year. Is my guess. Wait, no, stepping rule. Oh no, stepping rule wouldn't matter because they still have a pick this year. Well, and it doesn't matter about lottery protections. They have like 5 million picks, so it's probably going to be like the Milwaukee Bucks 2029 first rounder or something.
Just give it away. I know it's always funny seeing. Hey, this is. I think there's a pick traded today from 2028. Okay.
The kid that will be selected with this pick is currently in 4th grade.
and the front office that's going to make the trade is not going to be with us.
Yeah, are we going to be alive then? I don't know. Check back. So there's some.
OKC Jalen Williams. OKC Jalen Williams. So Jalen Williams goes 12. AJ Griffin getting closer and closer here.
Damn,
oh man.
So the Cavs have Branham. They've got they got Griffin.
Trade down.
The Thunder, they didn't trade the 12th pick. According to the Woj.
Wait, now that you say that.
It's not part of the Knicks trade.
You're right. Wait, what are the Knicks doing? The Knicks just traded of their 11th pick and now don't have a first rounder this year. Oh my! Thank goodness I'm not a Knicks fan. Holy cow! You're right though. So 11. So Jane and Jalen Williams both go to OKC.
How many freaking rookies are you gonna have on your team?
Wow! I'm just shocked it wasn't for their first rounder this year. That's unbelievable.
Yeah. I figured.
Well, they have another one, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Later
so
we already went over this. They have like 5 million of them.
So it's got to be that one, I would assume.
Seth, go on. I'm gonna look up picks. I want to see who Oklahoma City has pick wise.
Yeah, no, great point. Yeah, I was just it's gonna be wild to see what the protections are because that's a big deal. I mean, I forget the phrase, but was it the bird in the hand is better than the one in the bush? I don't know. You'd rather get your guy this year than know what the hell's gonna happen in the future. I'm bummed about Jalen Williams though, man. I think he's been.
Yeah, that was my guy. I thought, especially just like who was going to be available. I thought that was going to be because he's like one of the more guys that kind of perfectly fit what the Cavs need. But I didn't expect Griffin to fall. So
you guys, so OKC has 3 first rounders this year. What if I told you they have 5 next year? No wonder they're freaking trained up to get Usman Chain.
They have 5 first rounders.
They have 2, 12, and 30 this year. So they have their own Clippers, Suns this year. Next year, they have their own Denver, Detroit, Clippers, Washington. Oh, the year after that, they have 4. So they go 3, 5, 4
for
first
they have
round
18
picks.
In the next few years.
I guess I wasn't kidding when I said that they have 58 of the 60 picks next year.
Jeez.
So, yeah, that's a smart trade of them. If you like Usman James so much, trade one of your 12 first-round picks that you have this year in the next 2 years and move up and get that dude.
Yeah. Let's see.
Man,
who we got?
How does – like, there's one thing to rebuild. And that is a very – so the Cavs did, like, this whole 7-footer Tower City thing, and that took the NBA by storm. If OKC turns into a contender, I wonder if this, like, rebuild and get 1,000 first-round picks will, like, be a thing that rebuilding teams do. Because that is, I cannot believe that they have 3 first rounders this year, 5 next year, and 4 the year after that.
I think that with the board how it's fallen, I think a trade is quite
yes.
possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, please. I am all for a trade, unless AJ Griffin falls to 14.
Yeah.
Especially if AJ Griffin goes 13, trade, please.
Especially with the both centers are dropping, which it kind of makes sense because the center is not the strongest, most needed position anymore in the NBA. So it makes sense, but I would assume around this time people would start looking to trade up for him.
Jalen Williams has the opposite Colin Sexton hair. Do you know how Colin Sexton has like that little like
back.
tail in the back? Jalen Williams has it. I just noticed Jalen Williams has it in the front.
Oh man. I know it's lesser competition, but just watching his highlights, he's that lengthy, scoring. He can pass. Man, he would have been a good fit. Damn.
I wish 1 year the draft would just show highlights of like turnovers, missed dunks, and missed shots, and just see how the NBA fans react.
I know we don't like NBA comparison.
Don't do it.
But I heard a good one with Jalen. He does remind me of Malcolm Brogdon. He's not a great athlete, but man, he's so skilled and he's tall. But I know I'm sorry, Josh.
How can you hear a good player comparison when there are no good ones? It doesn't make sense. I agree though. Maybe if his ceiling is Malcolm Brogdon though.
His long socks also make me think of him.
Wait, does he? He'd be off my draft immediately. Okay, he's off. I'm so glad he didn't go 14 then. Woo! There was a guy, knee-high socks. I don't know. By the way, Seth, it looks like you're like the Undertaker right now because you're completely dark on my screen. It's crazy. I see like the outline of you, but I don't see you.
He's the Dark Knight.
The Dark Knight or Undertaker. If you just start playing Undertaker intro music, I'd be laughing hysterically. Wow, we're on 56 minutes already. Wow, we can kill time talking NBA, by the way. Holy cow. So 13, I just want this pick to be leaked because I want to know who they get.
It's got to be a big guy. It's got to be a big guy. Come on.
It has to. If Charlotte wants to bring back Miles Bridges, are you going to draft AJ Griffin? I don't think so. AJ Griffin, it would be a slow two-guard with LaMelo. I can't think of who's their two. Oh, their two guard right now is Terry Rozier.
Yeah.
So I guess you go like one extreme to the other with eight.
But they have to trade. They have to sign. What's his name back? So
Miles.
Yeah. So they need to kind of limit their cap space, and I think Terry and Hayward. Yeah, they're looking to trade him. So let's see.
Ooh, maybe the Cavs. I would eat Gordon Hayward's contract to get one of these first-round picks.
Yeah,
I think
it's only 2 years.
2 years, $30 million a year.
Yeah.
Hey, if he's healthy, 50 games. That is 50 games that you have a legitimate 3-guard.
Yeah, and he's literally the perfect 3-guard when healthy to fit with this roster.
And I mean, when the Cavs make trades, the biggest stipulation is always when healthy, right? It would be like a tradition,
right?
Yeah. Wow.
I just want to know this 13th pick.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't think Griffin was going to be here, man. We barely talked about him, Josh, because we just assumed he was first on both of our lists, but we both didn't think he was going to be here. This is huge. I mean, why is he?
He was like, no matter what, it has to be. He was overweight, and his medicals must have been bad.
Yeah,
I don't think he was hurt last year at Duke, but prior to Duke,
he was injured before the season, and then I think he missed 2 seasons in high school, and I think
he had some knee stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and they said he never he was explosive in high school. They said,
AJ Griffin's going to be there. By the way, Jalen Duran, 13 to Charlotte
center.
Yep.
You are running to the podium right now with AJ Griffin, correct? You have to be.
It all depends on the medicals. I don't know. We just don't know. I think a trade's coming.
I don't want to see Adam Silver at the podium right now. I want to see Kobe Altman literally sprinting to the podium right now.
Yeah, I predict trade.
So it's Branham, it's Abaji, or it's Griffin. You'd think one of those three, probably.
And then if you trade down a couple picks, it will still probably be one of those three. That's the thing too.
Right.
But can you pass up on AJ Griffin?
Wow.
Man.
We just didn't think
I cannot believe AJ Griffin has fallen to 14. Damn it. I don't know what to do. Thank goodness we're not in charge here. Because, I mean, AJ Griffin literally is he is, in this draft, he is the perfect fit.
6'6", sharpshooter, 3. I mean, he get Lowry out of his oversized 3 spot. He would fit in perfect if he is healthy.
I mean, it's one of those things where, like, Michael Porter. So I'm not saying Adrian Griffin's the next Michael Porter Jr. from a few years ago, but Michael Porter Jr. was like a no matter what top 10 pick. His medicals were bad, and with his back injuries, so he fell to mid first round, I think, with Denver. And now, when healthy, I know when healthy is a huge stipulation. He is a top 10 forward in the league, right?
Oh,
top 15.
We have another trade. That's going. Duran is going to Detroit. So the last pick there.
So Detroit is not
Charlotte does not care about a center.
Interesting. Yeah.
No.
So what does that mean about the Pistons and Ayton, right?
No, hey, by the way, it's not Detroit. Jalen Duran to the Knicks.
Oh, okay.
Knicks, what the hell are you doing?
That's freaking hilarious. They take a stand center.
Man, thank goodness they're going to have Derrick Rose throwing alley-oops of Jalen Duran.
I feel like that makes it even more kind of this could be a trade-up because if Charlotte still hasn't taken a center.
But that's so smart of Charlotte, though. They're playing chess. They know the Cavs aren't going to take a center at 14, so why not take a center at 13?
If they trade it, though, then they're screwed.
Yeah, then you're screwed. That is a huge –
that's a gamble.
I mean, but if the Cavs don't trade the pick, you probably just got another future first-round pick and are still going to get your guy at 15.
Yeah.
I would have taken Mark Williams over Jalen Duran any day of the week.
Yeah. So just if Griffin's medicals are not too good, it looks like Malachi Branham, Abaji.
Yeah.
Those are
not
probably
to interrupt you, Joe. So Shams and Woj said Duran was traded to the Pistons. Shams is saying Knicks.
Yeah, I saw.
Either way, he was traded. We don't know which team, I guess. If he goes to the Pistons, though, that takes him out of DeAndre Ayton sweepstakes, right? Has to.
I don't know.
How do you invest a max contract into a set? But if you give him a max, that's 5 years, right?
Right.
So there's no way you're starting Durant and DeAndre Ayton together.
Yeah. I did hear, I forget who it was, but someone said they may not spend all that cap space on signings. They actually might just take like kind of big contracts on to get draft picks and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how they actually do it.
I just think they're out of the Ayton sweepstakes now, which I'm fine with because we don't need DeAndre Ayton in the Eastern Conference.
So it looks like it's the Pistons. Someone else just Yahoo Sports just said that. So I think
Shams.
I think Shams is wrong.
Freaking Shams! Wow.
Woj, the master beats the protege.
Yeah, we can't question Woj after this. I mean, he's 2 for 2 on debated things here. They're doing a good job of how Cavs turnaround last season now on ESPN, talking about the big guys. Perkins is giving them kind of a shout out.
Cavs picks
in. I mean, the Eason's still on the board. There's a lot of talk about Eason.
If you want to see it, go to Shams.
Don't spoil it, but why? Oh my god. AJ Griffin's medicals must have been really bad.
Yeah, it had to. There's no other reason.
Wow, we're all speechless, aren't we?
Well, we don't want to ruin it here.
So
wow. Well, we just talked about him, didn't we?
Oh man, Adrian Griffin. I would love to know why he's falling so hard. He's literally losing out on millions and millions of dollars right now.
Oh man, guys, the one thing I'll say, and I'm not gonna give up the player here, but I wonder where the Cavs had rated Jang as well as Williams compared to this guy that they're about to take. Were those two players leaps and bounds above this player, or were they in that same tier? I would love to know. I know we're not gonna know, but I'd love to know.
I think they had both of them a step ahead of. I think they probably are pretty. Ooh, Knicks traded Kemba Walker to Detroit. Yeah, I think
the Chase Down Discord is pissed right now. By the way, Oh my goodness! I don't know if any of you guys are in the Chase Down Discord, but they are not happy. Oh man! All right, so I'm just gonna say it because if you're listening,
screw it. It's
the Cavs selected
okay.
Kansas when Ochai Agbaji. We just talked about him. One of the oldest players in the draft.
You know who's excited though? Who's excited right now?
TD Derry. I'm making him on the podcast this weekend. Hopefully.
That man loves that guy.
Oh man, like Joe rated it a 2.5 out of 10. I said it would be the most boring pick they could make. It fills a hole, yes, but he can't really create for himself, and he's one of the oldest players in the draft.
Does he feel like when Osman is really good, is that like his role? Because that's just like maybe he's the 5th or 6th best player on the team, right? It's like I can't get excited about this one.
And he has no upside. Yeah. He is what he is.
He had like the lowest assist rate of any player for some time. I'll have to go dig up the stat, but it was bad. It was incredibly low. He's not a playmaker. He's not creating for himself. It's corner 3 time.
Right. If you want to look glass half full, he's probably your 4th best shooter now on the team. You got Darius and Colin, but yeah, I wouldn't have gone that way. I would have taken the shot, but I do want to say, this first round might not be done, so they could be taking their shot.
I hope it's not, because the majority of Cavs fans are very ticked off right now.
They could be taking their shot with the 2nd pick. I know Dalen Terry was Chris Fedor has been saying a lot that he is a possible guy. So maybe they trade up with all their 2nd rounders. We've talked about how they don't want to take them all, but it's going to be interesting to see. But it's an okay as I rated it. It's an okay. I'm okay with it, but it's not. It wouldn't have been my pick. Let's just say that.
Yeah. I'm going to try to get TD in here on this live show to help us out a little bit. Maybe, probably not.
4-year player, won the championship. Obviously, he was the Final Four player. Averaged 18 a game, 31% from 3, improved from 3 every year. It's just, I think Carter said it best from the Chase Downs. It's rare that you see a guy from a school like Kansas. You just ask the question, why did he not get drafted until now? Until he's a senior, he's 22. This front office, I'm not. I guess we've seen them go so young. So this pick honestly surprises me a little bit. I'm a little surprised.
It goes in a completely different, and just like the player type too. Like, how many times have they got the young guy with a lot of potential, and this is just the exact opposite. So I don't know. We'll see. This is interesting.
Oh my gosh!
It's funny because the Cavs fans are not excited about it, but like national guys are.
A lot of pedigree. He was very visible this year. I mean, he was the best player. In the Final Four, he was out there this year. That's for sure. A lot of eyeballs were on him.
Hey, fun fact: Isaac Okoro is 9 months younger than Ochai.
Yeah,
Isaac Okoro has been in the league for 2 years already.
It's just funny. Like, Isaac is just so freaking young. He's just consistently every year. He's always one of the younger guys. Fedor did say that they're not trading it, so just to let you know. And Mark Williams goes Charlotte afterwards. So.
Oh my God.
And Abaji's, he's 6'5", so he's not that like 6'7", 6'8" wing. He's, I guess if you'd want to,
he is super athletic though. So
yeah,
he does. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how many times, as we said earlier in the cast here, age in the NBA it can be a little bit overrated. We've seen Desmond Bane play well at an older age. So this could be another one. There's a lot of people on Twitter from National guys that love this pick. So, and if it's a need now, like you could put them in the rotation now. So for immediate need, that's kind of nice.
If it's a need, but it also like with the number 14 pick, I want a guy with upside. I don't really see Ochi having any upside. Does that make sense? Like he is. It's bad to say he is who he is because he has yet to even dribble a basketball in an NBA game. But like I just don't see the upside there. Yes, he can play defense. He can make threes. Well, you sure as hell hope he can play defense and make threes if you're drafting this guy at 14. But he can't really create for himself. That's what I'm really, really worried about. Then again, though, 14, you're not going to get a guy that fills all the holes on your team. So I guess if you fill two of them, it is what it is. I don't know. The thing, if Irish Switch was 2 years younger, like I said, like 10, 15, 20 minutes ago,
Hawks,
the age.
Hawks got Griffin.
Right. The next. So that's, that unfortunately, that's going to be something we're looking at for years down the road, aren't we? I mean, we're going to watch Abaji's career. We're going to watch Griffin's career, and we're going to say, oh, they were basically back to back. So, the good thing now for us is, we get to go like dive in. I know we've been looking at all these players, so you can't zoom in too far, but now we get a chance to, okay, now we understand who they got, watch a little bit more film and really break it down. But yeah, I'll be honest, guys, I'm a little surprised. I did not think I understood the fit for sure. I just, for whatever reason, thought it was going to be that bigger swing. So definitely a little surprised. It'll be interesting to see what Kobe says on the presser. I'm a little bit of like a media nerd, but I really value and I enjoy listening to to those conversations, the press conferences, see what he's going to say, because I want to hear what why they chose him, what he thinks they can bring. And Kobe, he'll share some things. He's not like so tight-lipped where you'll be able to glean one or two things from the presser. So yeah, now we get to go dive in, which is exciting.
And I know Seth tweeted about this earlier. I've always been a trust in Kobe guy. So until he proves me wrong, I'm going to trust in Kobe.
Right.
But I don't, just with Malachi Branham there, I know I'm a homer. It sounds like I'm a homer, Ohio State Buckeye. With Malachi there, with AJ Griffin there, it's just, I would have been fine with OJ Agbaji if other guys went before 14. But with those guys there, it's like, AJ Griffin, freshman, he's a 3-and-D guy. He's the best, probably the best 3-point shooter in the draft. Malachi Branham, St. V, went to Ohio State. Yes, he has troubles defensively, but like at what point are we going to start worrying more about offense and less about defense? I think the Cavs are in a position where they can solely focus on offense first, guys, if that makes sense. Not only do you have 3 7-footers in the starting lineup, but you have a guy like Isaac Okoro, or a guy, it's easy to say he can develop offense, but I just want a guy who is like already offensive first mind, if that makes sense. Ochi, like we said, really good 3-point shooter, struggles to create for himself. I hope that changes. I hope he proves us all wrong, all of us doubters right now. But man,
and another thing with how the Cavs operate, which kind of obviously the pick is different in terms of age and kind of just ceiling wise, but in terms of character, this fits right into it. Ochai is pretty much like, as Seth said, he's a winner. He's gotten better every single year at Kansas, so it definitely fits in the role of, they want hard workers, they want guys that have shown the ability to win,
guys that like to win, number one.
But yeah, it still fits that role. And I'm gonna still hold out that they might make another trade here in late, kind of get that potential in the late first round here. That'll be my prediction.
That's a great point, because they got 3 picks at still in this draft, and so would not be surprised at all if they move some.
And Malachi's dropping, so
yeah, that's a good point. A couple of quick glass half full metrics. I'm reading the article Chris Fedor wrote on Cleveland.com 2 days ago. If you look at what Abaji did in terms of catch and shoot, he averaged 1.27 points per catch and shoot, which was in the 94th percentile. If you look at what he did in terms of clear path to the rim, he averaged 1.45 points per shot around the rim in the half court, which was the 94th percentile. So those are two things that obviously we knew the shooting, the clear path to the rim, and like the drive number surprises me a little bit based off what we read, but a couple of glass half full metrics, if we're looking for positives.
He is a
Another
solid
positive.
defender too. So
Ochi?
Yeah, he's not like a Malachi Branham who's got a lot of work to do. So another positive.
Yes, I agree with that. But Malachi is also 4 years younger than him?
True.
Right? 3, 4. And TD Derry, for those of you that don't know, he doesn't write for WFNY, but he is part of the Guardians Brothers cast, who TD and Matt do the great job in the Guardians cast for waiting for next year. He is a huge. He's by far the biggest Kansas basketball fan I know. He just tweeted, "I'm getting a million texts since I'm the KU guy. So here's what I'll say: Ochai Agbaji is a great kid. Everything you want in a teammate. Works his ass off. Got better every year. He can contribute right away. But I think he's a role player at best, which of course is what the Cavs needed." So, like we've been saying, I mean, I'm going to do more work watching tape and stuff. But it's one of those things where, like, yes, he's a perfect plug-and-play guy, which Seth, did you say something about plug-and-play? You tweeted something about plug-and-play guy earlier this morning, didn't you?
I'm sorry. Repeat that again.
Seth.
Oh.
Sorry. I was having a hard time. My computer was freezing up on me. Yeah, the one thing I said was, like, we just have to be careful of, certain assumptions. It's like going, if we're looking at drafting 14, all these guys, I'd say at this point, past like 8 to 10, who knows? Like, I don't know if it's for certain that Abaji is going to be able to play a critical role early on, if ever, to be honest. So yeah, that was like my take for today was really, I don't know if there's any such thing as as a day one contribution guy down at 14, but we'll see. I think this is the guy, right? If so, but that was kind of
anybody,
yeah.
I still think
player comparison, Danny Green.
No, do you know what? Seth, I think Seth and I said that. We said Ochai's ceiling is Danny Green.
Yeah.
If that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Which is, I think it's a good, like, we're picking a 14. I feel like we kind of, Cavs fans are kind of expectations of like, oh, we're in the middle, we're in the lottery. No, there's a difference between in the beginning of the lottery and the end of the lottery.
Good news for glass half fullers. Todd is going to join us. Here, hold on, I can send him an invite.
Oh, nice.
He will give us all the positive things we need about Ochai because I'm so far down on him right now.
So I'm trying to the Rockets.
So the Rockets have. Who they draft? Who
they got?
Who the Rockets take?
They got Jabari. Similar.
That's interesting. Jalen Green, Tari, and that is very interesting.
Similar type player. Well, that's why they traded Wood. What is it? Christian Wood. Going heavy on the in the post.
Yeah, going heavy in the post, and you have John Wall. Speaking of, can we talk? We need some time to kill still. Although we can be off this unless the Cavs trade back in the first. Seth, by the way, if you need to go because you have way more important things, feel free to go whenever. You can stay with us, but you can go whenever too. Don't feel obligated to stay.
Yeah, you know what? This is probably a good break time. I think we got to go through the list one more time. So, yeah, probably will go. It was a pleasure, gentlemen. I need to probably sleep on it, do a little more deep dive, and think about it a little bit more. Yeah. I'll get back to both of you, but hell of a time. I love it. I'm going to go probably put one eye on the TV and one eye on the wedding registry list. So I'll be back.
All right.
But enjoy the evening,
fellas. This weekend, your homework is to watch tape. I don't care what other important plans you have. I want you watching tape all freaking weekend.
I'll have 4,000 words on your desk by Monday with Abaji.
Your vows better include something about Abaji.
Yeah, and I hope I love fits as well as Abaji will fit at the small forward position.
But Seth, seriously though, enjoy yourself this weekend. Have fun.
Take care.
Get drunk. and have one hell of a wedding.
Yeah.
Hell yes, we'll do. Thank you very much. Take care.
See ya.
Man, that's perfect. Shoot, what were we talking about? TD is hopefully going to be joining us. I sent him a link. I don't know how every stream works though. I don't know. OG, just so like when Seth asked us earlier, if you were to grade a potential OG Agbaji pick 1 through 10, you said 2.5. I didn't really give it a rating. I don't think I gave it a number. I just said it'd be the most boring pick they can make.
Yeah.
And I'm still sticking with that.
Yeah.
It's just like I said, plug and play guy. Fills a role, I guess. He's a shooter. He's a 3-and-D guy, but he can't create for himself. It's just the age bothers me, and his ceiling bothers because he doesn't really have much of a ceiling.
Yeah.
I guess
he's like if the Browns took an offensive lineman. Meh.
You always have to bring up the Browns, damn it.
I got you.
Well, so on the latest CavsCast, Joe Gilbert compares Ochi to Joe Thomas.
Yes, I do. Hopefully he's the GOAT.
Oh man. I mean, I have to write this up, the Cavs selecting Ochi. I guess I'm just killing time because I want to see if TD joins us. Besides that, I don't really have much else to say. The Cavs don't pick again until 36 unless they trade in the first round, which I'm hoping they do. I hope they trade. Because, wait, they got pick 49 earlier? They basically bought the pick?
Yeah.
So they have 36, 49, and 56.
Yeah.
Trade those 3 picks and get back in the late first round. That's how I'm feeling.
Yeah, and then I feel like then our expectations kind of change. They could get like one as we were talking about Dalen Terry, maybe Branham falls, which would be pretty crazy to see. And then you kind of look at the Ochai pick a little bit differently. So it's all about how you view it, and this draft's not over yet, so we'll see how it kind of finishes out here.
And for those of you that are not in our Discord, waiting for next year Discord, it's a good time sometimes. But on the public side, Joe Gilbert literally described the Ochi pick perfectly. He said, exact quote, Agbaji, with 2 exclamation marks. The next sentence, he said, I have no idea if it's a good pick or not. That perfectly describes the pick to a T. Yeah. But I'm all right, TD said give him 5, so we have to kill us in 5 minutes. Sorry, for those of you listening live, I don't know if there's any of you. For those of you listening to the podcast, I don't really. It'll be interesting because we get like a decent amount. It'll be interesting to see what kind of downloads we get for this because it's just live reaction. It's not really like we're breaking down anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we can talk Browns. We can break some news. I don't really have any breaking news though.
I know the Gilbert.
Do you have any breaking news?
Let's see.
Is Joe Gilbert's? Is your dad watching? He hasn't commented yet. If he has.
Yeah, he is, but I don't think he's.
He usually has like something smart to say that's funny. So I want to come on, Joe Gilbert, please comment, make us laugh.
Breaking news.
Watson's
going to be suspended for some period of time.
Oh, I thought, damn it, why do you have to play me like that? I literally thought that would be like worse than a Friday news dump.
Peak. That would be peak dump.
To drop it at 9:45 during the NBA draft.
That would be
hysterical though. That'd be the NFL. The NFL that would literally be all the talk. Yeah, Twitter would be all about Deshaun Watson in the NFL. They would take full attention from the NBA draft and just proving that the NFL is the GOAT, like usual.
Hey, at least we're not the Knicks.
Or the Kings.
Yeah.
By the way, Pistons. So they got Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duran and only had to give up 1 future first-round pick. They're going to be a team to watch.
Yeah, they took on Kemba Walker, and then they're going to cut him.
Oh, really?
Or buy him out, at least.
Buy him out?
Yeah.
Hey, if you have the cap space, why not?
So it was a combination. So Sham was sort of right, or not right, but it was a 3-team trade.
TD is in a very short time. We are going into the Kansas basketball expert super fan. Will hopefully have a glass half full, not a glass half empty about OG. TD Dairy, welcome to the cast.
Hey,
Give us
look
some
at that.
positive news.
Positive news, national champs, baby. Look at that. You know what? I didn't even I wore it today, and it wasn't even on purpose. And now Ochai Agbaji is a Cav. How about that, huh?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It's one of those things. No, I'll say, I said it would be the most boring pick, but it would be a guy that can immediately plug and play. You know you're going to get a 3-point shooter, a guy that can play defense. He can't really create for himself the best, but he fills a role. I'm just worried about his age. Am I close in that projection?
So I had literally when the Cavs picked him, I was getting 100 texts. I couldn't even respond fast enough, so I just put it out on Twitter. And this is basically what it is. This is a guy who's I'm telling you, the greatest kid. Everyone will love him here. He's so friendly. He's a great teammate. You know, he was a nothing recruit, literally in the 300s. He was originally redshirted by Bill Self. They pulled the red shirt halfway through the season because of injuries. And from that point on, his role just kept increasing every year, and he kept getting better and better and better. Here, the good news for this entire thing is that this is someone who you can plug and play immediately off the bench. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I know much about the Cavs because I do not watch the NBA, but I do know that Isaac Okoro and Ochai Agbaji, that's a similar fit there. Okoro's not nearly the offensive player that Agbaji is. He is definitely a better defender, but Ochai is a really good defensive player. And, he switches everything, tough kid, doesn't get rattled. As you saw, he was great in the Final Four. He was great in the national championship game. So I think you're getting someone who you can play right away, which is great. Now, the downside of it is he's a senior. I mean, and I know in today's NBA that's not so hot. But here, Desmond Bane, similar type of player, a little bit better shooter, but a similar type player, came in, 4 years at TCU, great, got better and better and better, and immediately played for them and is now a huge part of their success. So, I think your best case scenario for him is someone to turn into someone like Bane, but more likely you're going to get someone who is a solid 7th, 8th guy, rotation player is not going to make the dumb mistakes, going to defend and hit threes. And that's today's NBA, right?
Yep.
Thank you. I needed that. We needed that. Yeah,
what more could you ask for?
He's like the perfect plug and play guy. He's probably the most NBA ready out of the top 5 guys Absolutely. That were obvious ones. But the problem is that his ceiling, he is who he is. I don't really see much development coming from that, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. He just is who he is, but he's also a guy that's going to fill a hole.
I completely agree. I mean, he doesn't have a huge ceiling, but I think he's got a very, high floor, low ceiling type of player. And again, I think he's plug and play, and the Cavs will be happy to have him in that locker room too, because as I said right off the bat, he is an all-time great dude. I mean, seriously, Bill Self just raves about him. And, he was a guy, he entered his name into the draft last year, went to the combine, talked to scouts. They told him exactly what to work on. He came back and worked on all of it and got better at every single facet of his game. He's not a great ball handler, really C- at best. I can't tell you how many times his left hand needs work. That's the biggest part of his game that needs work is his ball handling. The rest of it is pretty polished at this point in his career. So yeah. So hey, I got to run, but it was good to see you both.
Man, appreciate it.
I appreciate it, TD. I really
get
do.
on that Guardians bandwagon, everyone. I know we're talking Cavs, but first place Guardians.
Hey, are you going this weekend, by the way?
Here's my schedule. Ready? Friday, Sunday, Tuesday for both, Wednesday, and Friday.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
If I'm there Friday or Sunday, I'll hit you up.
All right.
Hoping to be there at some point. All right. Go Guardians. Great. Thank you for your Cavs glass half full insight. We really do appreciate it.
Have a good night, guys.
Thanks, you too. Buddy. All right. So we needed that. That was great.
Nice.
I figured, he's literally, if you guys don't follow him on Twitter, he's
Kansas diehard, watches every single Kansas game.
His Twitter log handle is literally TD Guardians KU, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So TD is named Guardians because he's a Guardians. I mean, if you want to know anything about Guardians too, go to TD, and then KU for Kansas University. But I guess I'm feeling a little bit more positive, but I'm still, I don't know. If AJ Griffin wasn't there, I'd be a lot more positive about this pick, if that makes sense.
Yeah. The other thing is, it's sort of like, if you think about it as like a free agency pickup, like he kind of fits what you were looking for. You wanted a guy who can shoot it, he can defend, he can play the three. He'll probably be your backup role player. So if you think in that realm, it's what the team needed, and it's sort of maybe kind of changes where the Cavs are thinking of where they are. We've been going on potential and kind of high ceiling guys, and now maybe they think, hey, it's time to kind of rock and roll, and let's get guys that can help right now and kind of move this team forward and help next season. So it might be just a change of mindset.
True, that's true too. I mean, like I said earlier, I'm always trusting Kobe until he proves me wrong. I hope I can still trust in Kobe with this pick. And this is a dead honest, serious question. This is not a dig, OJ. Did the Cavs' average age just increase with this selection? I honestly don't. I'm like, this isn't a dig. But just the Cavs are so young that
I would say a tad, yeah.
Like, besides Kevin Love and Ed Davis, the Cavs are freaking young.
Yeah.
So the Cavs' average age might have increased with this news. I mean, like TD said, like we've both said, like Seth said when he was here, he's an immediate role player. I don't think he'll be a starter. At least a role player. He's a solid guy off the bench from day one. Yeah. Like from immediate this instant. Like it's not a question. He's an immediate role player from day one. He'll be I know you said this earlier, probably your fourth or fifth best 3-point shooter on the team from day one. But like TD said, he can't create for himself. He has a triple going left, but he can't play defense. So I just hope, not only does this put like a little fire under Isaac Okoro if he needs that, but if Ochai can be a better version of Isaac Okoro, I'm fine with that. Imagine if the Cavs had a better version of Isaac Okoro last season, a guy that can knock down the corner three.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, the Cavs not only would have won more games, they would have been in the playoffs and not even had this opportunity to draft Ochai.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I guess that's the way I have to think about it.
Shooting,
the Cavs just got a better version of Isaac Okoro.
The two playing games really show that this team needed shooting, and hey, Ochai is one of the best shooters in the draft this year. So they filled a big need. So and also Malachi keeps dropping. We're at
somehow
19
By the way,
is not him either.
No, it's not. We talked about Jake Laravia from Wake Forest. He was the kid whose Google age was 22, but really is 20. He was just selected by
Minnesota.
Who he was selected by the Grizzlies just traded for him. I mean, that is another solid pickup for the Grizzlies, by the way.
Yeah.
Thank goodness in the Western Conference.
They traded both their first rounders.
So
that could be so if Cavs draft kind of look at 22 and 29, those are picks now of Minnesota. So if they want to move up, definitely look at teams with multiple first rounders left, and then teams that are kind of stuck with too much money. So like mostly playoff teams, like championship playoff teams. So look at those teams too to move up.
Shoot, I didn't know I was muted. Speaking of too much money, I saw I think I was watching pre-draft stuff. The Golden State Warriors, if they want to keep Jordan Poole and keep like their core group of guys that they just won a championship with, it's going to cost them like $300 million in luxury tax.
Yeah.
Because they're on like the repeater tax.
Luckily for them, they make, I think they're the highest grossing team.
Oh, by far. Lacob bought that. Lacob's the GM. No, he's the owner. Is it Lacob?
Yeah.
He bought him for like less than $1 billion, and now they're worth like 5 something.
I think
billion.
I think besides like the Knicks or something, they're like the number one team.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they're worth more than the Knicks now.
Yeah, they might.
4 championships in 8 years. They're in California.
The Lakers maybe more.
Oh, yeah, the Lakers. Yeah, you're probably
That's
right.
LeBron.
All right, so we've been on this for an hour. It's by far the longest podcast I've ever did, or ever done. I can't even talk. Do you want to stay on here longer and hope that the Cavs trade back in? Just stick to Twitter and just watch it. It's completely up to you. I'm fine with whatever. I do need to write this draft pick up, but I can do that while we're talking too.
I think we can end it here. My computer's dying, so.
All right, I'm fine with that. I know we've talked about Ochai, we talked about the draft in general. Any final thoughts before we get going?
I just think with this pick, it's don't judge it right now. That's what I'm saying. Judge it until the end of the draft, and then probably all the way to training camp. I think they're not done, and I think it'll make more sense. I think it already does make sense because it fills a huge need for him, and just give it some time. And I think, as TD was telling him, I think fans will quickly love him. And I think just for the shooting aspect, it'll be much needed for this roster.
Yeah, I agree. I don't like that his ceiling is basically nothing because he is who he is. His shooting will help. His defense will help. He can't
His
create for
position
himself.
will help.
But it is what it, yeah. He's a 3 guy. I know we talked about Colin Sexton earlier. Detroit seems like a perfect fit for Colin Sexton. So it'll be interesting to see how those negotiations go. Yeah. But he's a restricted free agent. So Detroit can throw however much money they want at Colin.
And it'll be interesting because they just took on Kemba. I'll see. I wonder how much that affects what they can do. But I know they buy him out, but you still have. I think he's still whatever.
I still think they have so much though that it won't matter because even if they got DeAndre Ayton, I think it wouldn't have mattered still. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But we'll see.
So Colin Sexton. It's been the biggest question mark all offseason. Basically all season too.
Next couple weeks are gonna be fun. You got free agency starting.
Sure.
What is it, next week? I think
July 1st is the legal tampering period, isn't it? The
so
dumbest thing in sports.
So that's when it starts. And then you have, I think the week after is when the summer league is. So kind of.
Yeah, the NBA draft. There's literally no NBA offseason.
Yeah, the
NBA finals literally just ended 5 days ago.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, Game 7 was 5. No, it wasn't Game 7. Was it Game 7? Yeah, 5 days ago. Now we have the NBA draft. July 1st, NBA free agency. Right after that, NBA summer league, and then training camp, and then the season starts, and then it's a whole new cycle again.
Yeah. They in the NFL know how to run keep their names in the news year round. Baseball, not so
much. Baseball somehow has the longest season, but they're talked about the least.
Seriously, right?
But with that, if you joined us throughout this hour and 37 minutes live and commented anything, we appreciate you. Sorry, this is like a live reactions podcast. It's not really like something that we didn't really deep dive at all because we had no idea who the Cavs were going to pick. I almost pre-wrote Jalen Williams. I'm glad I didn't because that would have been a waste of my time. But the Cavs selected Kansas sharpshooter, 3-and-D guy that can't create for himself, but he can shoot, can play defense, Ochai Agbaji. Joe Gilbert's computer is dying because I just heard the sound in the background.
I just got a text notification.
For those of you that join us live, we appreciate it. If you're listening to our podcast on Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, we appreciate you as well. We will me, Seth, and Joe will likely do some sort of either podcast or like deep dive or write about Ochai in some way. But yeah, the draft's still going. They're on pick 20. The Cavs have picks 36, 49, and 56. If they keep them, I'm assuming that there's no way they will keep them. They'll either trade them for first or futures.
If they are, we're going to be up really late.
Yeah, they're going to trade them for either future picks or package them together and move up in the draft.
Oh, bring them.
Bring them to the Spurs. Ooh, nice. Good for him. But yeah, so thank you for joining us. We really appreciate you. We will be back with more Cavs content, both podcast and writing form, sooner rather than later. And until then, and as always, go Cavs.
Go Cavs.